Right, we're going to look at putting some bits and pieces on some sheets, and let's go to a 3D view so we can see what we're dealing with. There's this project that we worked on, or that I worked on with previous years. Too tricky to start off learning Revit from. I realised that, so I changed it for you guys. But anyway, this is the sort of thing that you can do quite easily as well, for the similar principles that we learnt within our 10 weeks. Walls, roof, columns, floors, railings, same stuff, okay, just in a different configuration. Stairs, topography. So level 0 plans, these can look different depending on whether we go for shaded mode, whether we have coarse fill, so for the lines, all this sort of stuff. We're not going to go through any of this because we've covered all that sort of stuff before. Things I am looking out for, however, would be stuff like this. So make sure that your elevation marker is just out of the way. Okay, just make sure that also that the view line for the elevation marker isn't left behind, and just in case you need it. So there's those sorts of things. Just trying to balance it out as best you can. And again, this one here, just move that back a little bit. We could also move these things in as well. Okay, so just to make life a little bit easier for ourselves. And we can move that back into there. So these sorts of things, I don't like things sitting over each other. There's no need. All it takes is a little move to get it out of the way. So go back to our plan. So our A100 unnamed. And to put some information onto a plan, you just drag from the browser. So click and hold. So I'll take the site plan in. Click and hold, let go, and then you get a size for the cropped region of that view. Okay, so I'll click, and that's positioned the site plan view. Now, if I click away from that, I've deselected it, I end up with this line here, which is independent of the view in some ways. But if I click on that, then you've got all sorts of different stuff going on in the properties of this. This is controlling lots of things. If I change the scale to 1 to 200 and apply, then change the scale there. Okay, so these are some of the things I didn't sort of cover in class, but that's one of those things that can be done. So change it back to 1 to 100. So this moves independently of it, but it does control a lot of stuff on that. So display model, detail level, all available through this project browser when you've clicked on this thing. To change the length of it, you need to click on the view itself, because it's kind of linked. So you don't click on this box, you click on the view, and then it allows you to drag this down if you want to change the length, which means then you can kind of move it in a little bit closer. Okay, so that's one of those things. What else can we do? If I wanted maybe to take a duplicate of the site, but in a different line style, then I could right click on site, duplicate view, and let's duplicate with detailing, site copy, and then I can change the look of that to a hidden line view, for example. And maybe I want to turn on the sum path and continue with current settings. That will do. Let's zoom out so you can see the sum path. That's rather a big sum path. So let's change the scale of the sum path to 100. You can't go any lower than 100, but that's kind of got a sum path view in there. Plan. So double click on this again and drag that in. So site copy. I'll bring this in. Maybe it's too big. Oh, that's why. It's far too big for it. So that's quite clearly too big for the sheet, because the sun path covers the whole lot. So we could change this to maybe 1 to 1000. And then we've got this little issue with a very long line there. So select that. Let's drag this right down to there, and we can bring them in together. Okay, so we have got an issue now with all the bubbles and all the text being too big. This sum path is clearly causing a bit of a problem as far as everything goes on this one. So something like that is not going to get you many marks. for fairly obvious reasons. Okay, makes no sense to anyone, so let's not bother putting stuff like that on. Other things, the elevations. Again, bring in some elevations, bring in some sections. And when you're putting this stuff in, oh, it's a very big section. Let's see what happens there. That's a section through the entire site. So 1 to 50. So maybe change that to 1 to 100. So we can get that in. Okay, so that's gone there. Now, the sorts of things that I want to see, neat and tidy, trying to organize the drawing in such a way as it reads correctly, so plans sort of together, sections and elevations together, anything else you want to put in. If you want to draw in extra lines to reference something, then on the annotate tab you can use detail lines, so it's still an option, so we can still create shapes inside of this drawing environment. Okay, so it's not just about the Revit views, then we can start changing or putting things into this drawing. So I wanted to sort of highlight an area that maybe hadn't been highlighted properly, then I can drag that out. And with these things selected, we can change the style to maybe a hidden line, and I'd have to load up a new line type to get it to be a slightly thicker or a different color. But anyway, that could then highlight the sort of top section, and it could be referenced somewhere else. And then you could crop these views should you want to. Okay, so currently the crop view isn't showing on these things. Okay, so if I wanted to see the crop view, then that will be available on this thing. So click on crop view and crop region visible. So now I can see the crop region. Now if I want to edit the crop on this is looking at the east elevation here. So I can go down to my elevations and double click on east, and then just bring this up. So I'm looking at that bit only. Don't have to save anything here. Then I can hide the crop region but not the crop view, and then back down to my sheets, and then that's changed to that. Okay, so lots of different things you can do within the sheet to modify and enhance the way that things look. So I'm going to leave it up to you to decide how you're going to pan this out, but there is a list of the essential information, and then anything else that you want to add in that you feel comfortable putting in, it would be nice to see as well. I will look forward to marking it and get it back to you as quickly as I can, and thanks very much for showing up.